Okay, cool. We on? Okay, there we go. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the 13th episode of Trippin with Theobold. I'm your host, Andre Theobold. I go by AP. I go by Dre Theo. I go by simply Dre. More nicknames to come. But welcome. Welcome to the show. If this is your first time listening, the show is called Trippin with Theobold because I trip figuratively and literally, right? I literally trip in speech, grew up with a speech impediment, so I'm owning it, you know? I don't do edits in this little broadcast or this pod or whatever you want to call it. So if I stumble and stutter or get caught up, I'm just going to go, come on, Dre. And figuratively, I trip in thought. You know, I have a lot of crazy ideas. I think about a lot of shit. So that's why it's called Trippin' with Theobold. And welcome. Thank you for joining. But before, come on, Dre. Getting started off on a bad foot already, man. Hey, but before we get started, make sure that you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, do all that fun stuff. You know what I'm saying? Go away in the comment section, do all that fun stuff. You know what I'm saying? This is an interactive channel. All right. So, welcome. So it's been a minute. Haven't posted since June 3rd. So this is my first episode since posting on June 3rd. I had a lot of stuff going on at work. So I was busy, a lot of stuff going on. So we're back and we're going to try to keep it, more consistent, as we go on. I didn't pick my nose. That was my nose just itching on the side. So, anyways, before we get going, I want to plug a few things. So, first off, I want to plug this hat. If you can see, this is a black brand hat spelled BLKBRND, I think, or BRAND. Google it, black brand. It'll pop up. But yeah, I like this hat, man. Like, this is another dad hat that I got from them. And I'm not sure if you can see it, but let me go ahead and show y'all. Show my head. Can y'all see that? It says perfection with a line through it. It says perfection with a line through it, which means basically stop trying to be perfect, Imperfection, right? Perfection should not be the goal. Progress should be the goal, right? Just get better, So I like this hat, dope hat. So this hat is kind of like, meta, right? Basically, it's like a double entendre within this hat, right? Like basically, it says perfection, but when I first got the hat, I didn't like how the hat was like structured, like see how it's all bunched up right here. You see how it's all bunched up and all tight, and then it just looks awkward. But I thought to myself, Dre, fuck perfection. Is it 2 minutes yet? Cool, yeah. So I just found out through Kwame Brown, man, that YouTube be filtering videos for cuss words. So if you cuss in the first 2 minutes, I think they put your video at the bottom of the stack. So if you hold out and don't cuss until after 2 minutes, you cool. You know what I'm saying? So right now we've been going for about 4 minutes and we in there. You know what I'm saying? But basically, like I said before, this hat is kind of like meta, right? Where basically the hat basically says fuck perfection, and I'm not happy with I don't like how it bunches up at the top, but it's still a dope hat because it represents what it is. Dope hat though, man. Still like it, but you know me, I rock my hats like this anyway. So, let's go ahead and get into it. What else we got? We got some kombucha, Kavita, Master Blend. Master Brew. I said Master Blend. I combined the words brew and blend. Master Brew. kombucha. I started drinking kombucha about a year ago. I was at a writing session with a few comic buddies of mine, and this chick was like, "Hey, get some kombucha." I'm like, "Fuck is kombucha?" And I had it, and it's not bad. The brand or the flavor I'm drinking right now is mango lime, and I typically either get the ginger or I get the pineapple something or whatever. But these are pretty good. Yeah, we're gonna sip this slow. But yeah, so dope hat, dope drink. And of course we got the water, right here. Matter of fact, let me put a little coaster up so whenever I put my kombucha bottle down, it doesn't cause a lot of confusion, as my mom would say. That's her favorite word now, confusion. I don't want there to be a whole lot of confusion. I'm not trying to cause any confusion. Look, let me stop messing around. So anyways, so welcome. Like I said, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into it. So first segment of the show is the Say What portion of the show, where we talk about everything speech impediment related. Like I said, I grew up with a speech impediment, and I found a way to make my shit work, and here we are. So let's talk about it. So today, instead of recanting a story, or instead of recanting a story, or checking in for the week, I want to have kind of like a focus question, just to kind of talk philosophy, and philosophize. I'm not sure if that's even a word or not, but today's question is, are speech impediments curable? Are speech impediments curable? And I humbly think, or it's my conjecture, that they are not. And the reason why I think that speech impediments are not curable is because we as the human species are not perfect. I don't think anyone speaks perfect, right? There's only good, better, and best. But with that being said, I don't think speech impediments are curable, and let me kind of take it back to the calculus days, right? So if you're familiar with limit theory, basically, how can I break this down? So if you and a buddy are on, if you and your buddy are on a roof, right? And you're trying to inch towards the edge to see who can get closest to the edge without falling off. Each dude can get infinitesimally closer to the edge without falling off. So with that being said, basically there's an infinite number of steps to get to the end. So you could get closer and closer without ever reaching the end. Right? It's like if someone says, "Hey, give me a real number between 0 and 1, not including 1." Right? And if someone says, "Give me a larger number," and you have to keep going up, like one guy can go, 0.99. The next guy can go 0.99999, right? And the nines can be infinite, right? Without reaching that 1, right? So that's how I look at it when it comes to speech, right? Like, first of all, I think we don't have, as humans, I don't think we can comprehend perfection, right? I don't think we can comprehend perfect, right? So if we can't comprehend perfect, then how can we, comprehend perfect speech? I don't like my levels right now. I feel like they're kind of loud. Hold on a second. My microphone here. See if that's a little bit better. This thing's picking everything up. Damn. Okay. Anyways, we're back. But nah, it's like, I really feel like, we can't comprehend perfection. Like, we can get things good enough for, human consumption are good enough for us, which may seem or appear to be perfect, but if you actually measure it, there are imperfections in it, you know? So with that being said, I keep saying with that, I don't know why I'm saying that word so much now. Well, I think I do know why I'm saying it so much, but I need to stop. But anyways, I don't think speech impediments are curable, you know, because now I think they can be improved. I think they can be improved upon, you know, and I think they can be improved upon to the point where the impediment is unrecognizable to the human ear. But if you actually broke down and looked at, you know, a sound wave of a speech pattern, you know, you would find lots of imperfections in there, you know? So I think that I think that in order to define, see, a lot of things deal with definitions and terminology, right? Like we have to first define what is a speech impediment, right? You know, and once there's a collective term or definition on speech impediment, then I think you have to then go in and say, okay, what's the threshold or what number or what range is something going to be acceptable to the human ear, right? That's something that someone can't pick up on. In other words, right? I feel like I'm losing y'all, man. I mean, I'm just trying to get a little deeper into the shit, you know, and you know. So, long story short, I don't think speech impediments are curable. I think, you know, you can just get better, and you can get better to the point where people don't realize you have a speech impediment anymore, you know. But with me, in my case, I may be able to fool people every now and again, or for the most part, but underneath the surface is where, it's a lot of shit going on underneath the surface, right? Underneath the hood of the car, you know, there's a lot of shit going on in my brain, you know, like I'm constantly analyzing and predicting and, you know, getting a feel of and trying to, you know, it's a lot, you know, which is why, you know, like something that's funny is like a lot of times I have to like really concentrate and put forth a lot of effort and relax when I'm saying something, and when people are half listening and then they ask me to repeat myself, I get pissed because I'm like, yo, do you know how hard I had to work to get this shit out? Like, yo. So that's why when that happened, I'll be like, man, never mind, I'm good. Oh, you know what? I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back, and then I won't come back. You know. So that's like one of the benefits of, I guess, growing up with a speech impediment, right? Is you know when to shut the fuck up. You know, like I know when to keep my mouth shut because I'm just like, I don't feel like going through that. You know. And when people ain't listening, I just shut. I don't shut down, but I'm just like, cool. All I gotta do is be present. You know. But anyways, that's it for that segment of the show. The say why portion of the show. Make sure, you know, if you disagree or agree or have any feedback, put it in the comment section. You know, I'll look it over and maybe I'll address it. I mean, more than likely, I'll address it next video because as of right now, I think I'm the only one watching these videos. So I'm looking for these comments, man. I want to hear what y'all think. You know, do you know anyone like with a speech impediment? Like, you know, how many people, or better yet, how many people have you come across in your lifetime with a speech impediment? You know, like a noticeable one. Just curious. Let's go ahead and get on to the DFS portion of the show where we talk about everything daily fantasy sports related. So I'm just going to review a lineup right quick. Tell you who I picked. So right now we're in the Eastern Conference Finals, and these Hawks, man, these Hawks is hooping, you know. So there are no tiers because I think it's only one game tonight. So instead, I'm doing the NBA Showdown $8,000 quarterfinal jukebox, right? Atlanta versus Milwaukee. So in my captain spot, I got Giannis Antetokounmpo. Um, for my utility, so the way NBA Showdown works is you pick a captain and then you pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players, right? Highest points win. All right. So let's look at the bucket. So when you look at the payout structure, first place prize gets $400 off of a quarter, and I put in a quarter for this, by the way, 25 cents. So first place gets $400, second place gets $300, third place gets 200, and then 131st through 240th gets $2. I'm sorry, that's not the bottom. The bottom is 3,146th place to 9,115th place gets 50 cents. Right, so I'm trying to get that first place so I can get that $400. Anyways, in my captain spot, I got Giannis Antetokounmpo. And when you pick a captain, what happens is you have to pay double the price for 1.5 times the points, right? So, FYI. So in my captain spot, I got Giannis for 18,000. Come on, Dre. I got Giannis Antetokounmpo for $18,600. Then in my utility spots, I got Clint Capella for $7,800. And then I got Bryn Forbes for $2,400. And then I got Brook Lopez for $6,200. Then I got Bobby Portis for $3,000. And then I got Trae Young for $11,800, right? So my Theobold prediction for this game is that Bobby Portis is going to put up 25 or more fantasy points. All right, last game he put up 22.5 fantasy points. I'm predicting from the data that he's going to put up 25 or more fantasy points. That's my Theobold prediction. So check back in, look at the results, see what happens later on, and yeah. So let's talk about some more sports, man, because I'm not trying to, I have a loose format, but I want to kind of also talk about other shit, right? So let's talk about Ben Simmons, man. I'm really hoping this dude, figures it out, man. Because he is just super talented, man. I think he would be fun to watch if he gets out of his head. So me and my mom had like a conversation. Me and my mom and another friend of mine who's a big Sixers fan. We had this convo, and they're both convinced that he's done. Like my mom is like, Ben is done. Like she was saying he's gonna be out the league or no one's gonna want to play with him and this, that, and the third. And my boy was a diehard Sixers fan. He was like, yeah, it's time for him to go. We got to try to just recoup whatever we can recoup for him. But the one thing I didn't realize, and I have to go look into this some more, but one thing he told me was that Ben Simmons is not very humble. He comes across as being quiet and doesn't really say much in the media, but my boy was like, no, he's not humble at all. He's super talented. And that's part of the problem, right? Is I think Ben is so gifted that there may be a possibility to where he didn't really want it. He just happens to he seems like he's a super talented player that happens to play basketball. It's not like something that it doesn't come it comes across like it's starting to show that, I could be wrong, but it's starting to show that that he just plays because he's naturally good at it. So one thing my friend told me, or my boy told me, was he told me that basically Ben is on record saying that he doesn't need to work on shooting because he has other things in his game that he's good at. So we saw in these playoffs, in this series, that when he's running the offense, all they're gonna do is crowd the paint, and let that dude shoot. Just leave him wide open because he's either not gonna shoot or he's gonna pass the ball around, or he's not gonna shoot or he's gonna shoot and miss badly, you know. And then if it's late in the game and he got to shoot free throws, foul him, hack a bin, right? So hopefully he humbles his ass and he gets in that gym and shoots 1,000 shots a day and comes out just shooting to get people off his tail, because he's talented, like with the handles and driving to the hoop. If he just got half a jump shot, he'd be the best player in the NBA, or he could be the best player in the NBA, right? But my boy Said had this funny quote, man. I gotta read this off, man, because this shit was hilarious. What did he say? What it said say this? My man said, he said, moving for pennies on the dollar. That's what they're gonna do, or that's what they should do. But then he said, yeah, he's not humble at all, and I think he's very comfortable where he is. He's been quoted on the record for saying, "I don't need to shoot. I do other things." This is the quote right here. He says, "You can't be a professional athlete in a game where you don't perform a primary function of that game." That sounds like some John Madden talk right there, man. That's something that John Madden would say. It's so simple, but it's true, But anywho, yeah, that's that. So hopefully, but like I said, I think I don't think Ben can stay in Philly because the fans are gonna eat him up. The fans are gonna eat him up and they're gonna mess with his confidence. And yeah, they're better just, selling where they at. Now, where he goes, I don't know. Like, you might see him go somewhere like Boston, maybe, or you might see him go. I'm trying to think. You might see him go to Houston or something like that. Who knows? But I think he's pretty much out of Philly. But he has to really think about, does he want this or not? Because if he don't want it, he need to just go ahead and just chill. Or maybe he can go collect the bread. But hopefully he finds some drive and humbles himself and gets in that gym and shoots the shit out the ball so he can be like one of the top 5 players in the league, So anyways, that's that. Let's go ahead and get into the the symbology section of the show. And now we've kind of, we've kind of, I don't know, dovetailed a little bit to the dating joint, you know what I'm saying? Because like you said, like y'all know, I'm dealing with a young lady right now. One thing I've learned is that when you're single and you have no options, it's easy to talk that simp talk or that symbology stuff. But once you start, catching up with a little lady, or once you start dibbling and dabbling with a nice young lady, man, it's like, you fall into that trap where like yo, you gotta bite your tongue. You can't say everything, You can, and that's what I'm saying. So I'm trying to still keep my freedom of speech or whatever, but it's like, But anyways, one topic I think that kind of can cross over from, symbology to dating talk is the topic of dating spots. Like this came up a few times with women I've dealt with, and it's very, very complicated, or it's intricate, like it requires a lot of thought, you just can't wing this, right? So let me see. So back in the day when I used to, pre-AMS knowledge, which is Alpha Male Strategies, pre-AMS knowledge, my dating strategy was, hey, I got to get dressed up. I got to look nice. I got to try to look like something she wants to be out with, not thinking about myself at all. And I would basically try to find restaurants or things that she would like, you know? So basically, it was, the mindset was fuck me, let me entertain her, right? That was my mindset. Fuck me, let me entertain her, you know? So when I did that, I found out that I was spending a lot of bread, I was anxious, and I was tired, like mentally, because I'm like, it's like I picked up another job, you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm doing something that I don't want to do to impress somebody else, you know what I'm saying? So I did that, and that's probably why I had like no luck in the past or whatever, or little luck in the past, But then post AMS knowledge, he teaches, you're the prize or I'm the prize, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to do things that I want to do, you know what I'm saying? And it's a privilege for you to be going out with me to do things that I want to do, right? And it kind of, and I agree with that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, in both cases, right? Like, to me, when you're dating a chick, the chick is supposed to take her or take you to places or things that she enjoys doing. And you're supposed to take her to things that you enjoy doing, so that at the very least, one of y'all is guaranteed to have a good time, And when you're dating somebody, it's like, it should never be about the thing, It should never be like, if it's ever about the thing that you're doing, then you're probably not interested in that person, right? I'm just speaking facts, So, but there are pros and cons to both, right? There are pros and cons to both approaches, right? Let's call the previous approach the exocentric approach, right? Which means outward. And let's take the latter part. Let's call that the egocentric. Let's call that the egocentric position, right? So one is exo, one is ego, right? So the exocentric one, right? The pros are, right? The pros are, if you have any spots that are like special to you, they don't know about those spots, right? So if y'all don't work out, you can go back to what you were doing in your open spots, right? And also another advantage is you may discover a new spot, right? You may discover something else if things don't work out, and also you can determine, if the chick is really into you, right? Because it should never be about the thing, like I just said, right? It should be about y'all spending time together, But the cons are, both y'all could end up not liking the spots. Two, you could end up spending a whole lot of bread on something that you don't like, and wasting a whole lot of time, So the egocentric one, though, there are pros and cons to that as well, right? The pros are, you're doing things that you like doing. Even if, the chick isn't into you, you're having a good time, What's another pro? Another pro is, she gets to learn more, or she gets to learn more about you because she's watching you in your element, or she has the opportunity to see you in your element, right? Now the con is, it's a big con, is that if y'all don't work out, she might like that spot and still keep coming back to that spot. And now it's like, every time you go to that spot, you're going to have a sour taste in your mouth, or there's a potential of having a sour taste in your mouth of that chick that you are no longer with, And I kind of had that happen with a chick I dated in the past. It was like this piano lounge bar thing or whatever. And she wanted to take me there because she kept talking about it. I said, cool, let's go check it out. It's a real nice place. And we went there and we ate. Food was good. If I discovered that spot on my own, it would have been cool. But I'm not pressed to go there. I went there just that one time. And I remember when we were getting ready to eat or order our food, she looked at me and was like, she was like kind of like bashful. She was like, "Hey, if things don't work out between us, can you like not come back here ever again?" And I was like, "That's kind of an odd request. I mean, bitch, you don't own this bar. Like, you don't own this shit." But I said, I get it. You know what I'm saying? This is her comfort spot. This is where she comes, and that's what she likes to do. So, okay, cool. So we ain't work out, and I haven't been back since. Like, I don't. At the same token, here's the thing, right? If my job or if a person or friends of mine invite me to that spot, I'm gonna go, but I'm not gonna go there on my own. I'm not gonna try to make that my spot, you know, because I don't know. It's like this is weird. Like, I mean, I don't need to take over people's spots, you know. So I think the key is when it comes to the egocentric mindset versus the exocentric mindset when it comes to locations. I think basically you have to like inch people. There's a lot of different ways to go about it, right? I think one solution could be you rank out all of your places, like, you know, in descending order. And at first, y'all just do low key shit where you just go out and get drinks, or you come to the crib and chill and shit. And then as time moves on, you inch them into like your bottom most favorite spot, you know, and then gradually do it over time, you know, and then, but still do those things on your own time. And then, you know, if y'all don't work out after a year, you can say, okay, well, she only knows 2 of the 8 spots that I go to, you know? So that could be an approach, I guess, you know? What else? Yeah, it's just real weird, man. That's something I never really thought about. And I don't think people really talk about that, you know? Because when you're single, you have to cope. You have to do things to cope with, you know, your living situation, right? So if you agree or disagree or have some extra input, put it down in the comments below, and I'll bring it up next show, you know? So, but anyways, what we got going? Let me get some more kombucha, man. My mouth is getting, I should probably drink some water, you know, because don't want to be dehydrated, you know what I'm saying? So, but this kombucha tastes too good right now. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next portion of the show, which is the comedy bump portion of the show, where we talk about comedy bumps, right? Bumps in the road to my journey. Because if y'all don't know, I'm a comedian. I tell jokes. I'm a stand-up comedian. I think we have to clarify what comedian means nowadays, right? Because comedian is such a broad umbrella, right? Like, you got some people that just make funny videos. You got people that, you know, are comedic actors. You know, you got people that are humorists. You know, so I'm a stand up, right? I get on stage with a microphone and I crack jokes. All right. So that being said, the next comedy bump, I'm gonna take you back to episode 11, because 12 was a special comedy bump because it was a present comedy bump. I didn't advance in this competition that I was in, and I said, what better time to talk about it than the present? So I talked about it in episode 12. But in this one, I'm referring back to episode 11, where I talked about a bump or a comedy bump where it involved a famous comedian who makes sound effects. So as you know, I don't drop names on my podcast. I just say, look, this person was famous and they did blah, 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 or is famous and did blah, 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 right? So this dude, this is basically, I think, my second year in comedy. This is probably like I'm probably going into my second year of comedy, right? Doing stand-up comedy, right? And I'm at this comedy club in Iowa, you know, 'cause that's where I started at. And this is my second year because this is after the flood, right? Because there was a big flood in Iowa that wiped out the first club, and then there was another club um, that they turned into, or there was another club they actually turned into in the hotel. In this hotel they had in another part of Iowa. So there was this hotel, and then they had the club and the bar, but then they actually remodeled one of the rooms. Come on, Dre. They actually remodeled one of the conference rooms to where they turned it into a comedy club. It was dope. It was low. It was flat. You know, great lighting, great sound. They had a bar top. It was very, very, very professional. That was probably one of my favorite rooms to work because, I didn't even work that room. I was still new. I was trying to get into that room, but that was like probably one of my favorite rooms to like play in. You know, I did open mics and I did a competition in that room. But anyways, at this point in time, I'm not known by the owners and the bookers of the club, right? So instead of just going to the mics in the middle of the week, I was also going to the shows. I was paying, right? I was a paying patron. You know, I would pay to go to the first show on Friday or the only show on Friday night. Then I would pay to go to the first show on Saturday, and I would pay to go to the second show on Saturday. You know, and I was always in there, and I'm always just watching the comics. I'm always just studying. You know, so I remember a Friday show. There basically was a comedian, stand-up comedian, very famous comedian at one point in time, who does a lot of sound effects. Matter of fact, he was in a couple movies doing sound effects. With me giving you that information, you can probably figure out who it is, you know, because I can only think of like one or two people that did sound effects in movies. But anyways, I go down there, and no matter what, I went every week, and it didn't matter who the comedian was. You know, I just went habitually, right? I was going there to show my face, and I was going there to like study the comedians and see what they do, you know, not take their jokes, but I was going there to like just see how they work, you know. So I get there early, and the comedian or the headliner that weekend is sitting at the door, and I'm like one of the first people in the room. So as I walk in, he's like, "Hey man, you a comic?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Man, you want some time?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay." So he goes and talks to the manager, and it's like, "Yo," he's like my man over here is going to do 5 minutes in front of me, or he's going to do 5 minutes up front. So the manager kind of was like, "Okay." I could tell he was like, you know, it was one of those things where he was like, "Man, whatever." So prior to that, every week when I would go there would always be a comedian or a headliner that would ask me if I'm a comic and if I wanted some time. So it wasn't every week, but it was like every other week, right? So I would get like a guest spot every other week. So this particular time when I was asked to do time by the headliner, he told the manager, "Look, you know, so-and-so is going to go and do some time up front." And then when he left to go to his room or whatever, or to get ready for the show, the manager pulls me aside and he's like, "Yo, Dre," he's like, "Dude, you got to stop asking for time, man. Like you're not a professional, yo. You got to stop asking for time." I don't think he said I'm not a professional, but he just said, "Yo, you got to stop asking for stage time." And I told him, I said, "Look, I'm not asking for any time. I'm just showing up to support the room and watch the show." And they ask me if I'm a comic. I say yeah, and then they say, and then they offer me time. And he was like, "Okay, well, in that case, if they offer you time, you have to turn it down from now on." So that hurt, you know, like here it is. You got someone that's headlining the show that sees me, you know, they see that hope in my eyes. They see, like, you know, I'm a growing, budding comedian, and to make me have to turn down time makes me look like I'm not a comedian. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're always supposed to be like, "Yeah, I want that time. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, you know? So that was a huge bump because that kind of like rocked my confidence because now it's like other comedians basically are like, or people that come in from out of town are like now looking at me like, I don't know, it's not a good look, right? It's making me look like I'm afraid to get on stage, it's making me look like I'm afraid, and I'm really not, So there were other times in the future where people offered me time and I was like, yeah, nah, I can't do it. Right. Or I think what the manager at the time was hoping for was he was hoping that I would just not come to the club anymore, even though I'm paying. Right. So, yeah, this comedy game's a brutal game, man. As they say in football, man, stay at home if you don't want to get hit. So, but now, since I've been in the game for, I've been in the game for, I think my comedy birthday or my comedy age is like either 12 or 13. So I've been in the game for about 12, 13 years. And now I'm at the point now where I know how to check people. Like, I'm not afraid to check somebody, And it's no disrespect, but like I know how to like hold my own ground and be like, and not because when you get into comedy and you're around celebrities and shit, it's easy to get, it's easy to gawk at the talent and it's easy to get all glitzy and I don't want to. Man, fuck all that, Like I said, I roll different now, man. Someone asked me if the me now was there back then and that headliner offered me time and then the manager came up to me and was like, yo Dre, you gotta stop asking for time. I would either be like, oh, all right, and I would just keep showing up and they offer me time, I'm just gonna keep doing it, Or I would tell the manager about, look, man, you gotta go holler at him then, right? Or put it in your contracts to when you book people, to tell them that they can't offer time to anyone else. To tell them that they can't offer anyone to locals at the show. Right? Because my thing was back then was I was too afraid to speak up for myself because I was afraid that, if I speak up, I might blow an opportunity to get in with the club and to actually get on stage, But now I'm like, man, nah. I'm like, now I got more swag and now I got more experience. So now, I'm like, what? Or yeah, now like a lot of things don't require a response. That's one thing I'm learning in life right now is a lot of situations don't demand a response. That's simple. So yeah, so a lot of comedians I know that been in the game for a year or two, like they didn't have to go through shit like that. They were just told everything was fun and games and they just got to the stage and they got to have fun. And that's good for them. Like, no shade to them. That's good. But there's a lot of bumps that I ran into where I have to unlearn a certain way of thinking. So that's all that is. So but yeah, let's talk about the next comedy bump. Or let's get the next comedy bump for the next episode set up. So for the next comedy bump, we're gonna talk about so after that there was that. You know what? That's what we can do. Because this actually kind of came. You know what? I think this probably can't. No. That wasn't a bump. That was okay. Next comedy bump after that I would say would have been Let me take a sip and think about it for a second. Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. So next comedy bump is it involves me doing a show on the University of Iowa campus where they had a hood crowd that came in, right? And all I'm gonna say is little microphone, right? So when I go back and watch this, I know when I say little microphone, I know exactly I know I know exactly what it is I'm talking about. Or better yet, no, let me not do that one. Let me do that one later. Next comedy bump is the next comedy bump hint is what's the key word? Man, so I don't want to see. I'm not trying to give it up. I'm not trying to give it away too much. But it's like, excuse me. See, it's kombucha give you gas. That's what they don't tell you. But the next comedy bump is it's a big show, and basically, let me just say empty table, right? Or no, empty stage. Empty stage, packed house. I know the DJ. That's all I'm gonna say. And then I'll get into that comedy bump next. So that's gonna be next episode's comedy bump. So like real quick, without further ado, I don't know why I say without further ado. I hate colloquially call those colloquialisms or, catchphrases, whatever. I got to get out that habit, or like filler words. But if you haven't already, go ahead and like this video, subscribe, add some comments in below if you're a comic and if you've experienced a similar situation that I just explained with, having to turn down time. Feel free to go in the comment section and go punch it up, but let's get into what shows we have coming up next, right? So I got 2 shows on the horizon, right? So I'm not just doing open mics. I got 2 shows booked. I got a show tomorrow, actually. I got a show tomorrow at at Pan Pacific Park Amphitheater, which is in LA, 3 p.m. Right, go to my Instagram page, and you'll see the flyer, all the information. Come on through; it's a fun time. And then on July 11th, I believe it's July 11th. Let me just double check. On July 11th, I'm doing The Good Night, which is over in NoHo or North Hollywood. So yeah, July 11th, I'm doing The Good Night in Northern Hollywood or NoHo. And tomorrow, 3 p.m., I'll be at Pan Pacific Park Amphitheater. So if you haven't already, make sure you follow me on IG at AT is where it's at. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and do all that fun stuff on this video. And until next time, thanks for joining me on this episode of Trippin' with Theobold, and I am out.